Hey, how you doing? This is your boy Brogi Naric back again with another review. And in this video, I'm going to give you my review of American Skin, which was directed by Nate Parker. This is his second feature-length film, and there's a little controversy behind it. But before I get into it, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. We're still growing, and use your help, so thanks for doing so. Now, if you were alive last year, a lot of crazy things happened. Kobe Bryant passed, World War III was about to pop off, COVID, lockdowns, and a lot of black people were unjustly shot and murdered, and that pissed off a lot of people. And a lot of people out in the streets protesting. Some riots happened, damage, a lot of crazy shit happened. And randomly, out of nowhere, I was on Twitter and I saw a trailer for a movie called American Skin, which was directed by Nate Parker. Nate Parker's previous movie was a movie called Birth of a Nation, which focused on Black American slave named Nat Turner, who did a famous slave revolt. Very controversial film when it came out for various reasons, subject matter, and also the press trying to paint Nate Parker in a certain light and his handling of the situation. So, and I supported that film. That was a good film, and I went out to support that film because I like to support black directors who make good movies. He has skill. Especially for someone who did his first movie. And this second film came out of nowhere for me, and it focuses on, it was very timely. It focuses on this man whose son was killed, he feels unjustly, by a police officer during a traffic stop. It goes to trial, he doesn't get justice, and then he decides to hold a group of police officers, specifically the one that killed his son, hostage, and gives him a makeshift trial and determine whether that cop should live or die. And that's the general premise of the movie. And I was like blown away, especially when I found out that Spike Lee, from all people, was helping produce this. I was like, holy shit. That is some super fly TNT for your ass. It's like, okay, that can go a number of ways. And I will say that this movie is really good. Like, it's a solid story. It's definitely a drama. If you're expecting this to be some crazy action thriller, some sort of crazy fantasy, like sort of Django type thing, it's not that. It's very grounded. It's very much a drama, more in the line of, say, like a 12 Angry Men. There's a lot of debate going on. Like, the main focus of the film is the debate on specifically police brutality against black people and racism, but mainly like focusing on the police aspect of it, not necessarily getting into all the other aspects of it. And it's kind of rough, which I could say is kind of a theme that Nate Parker seems to have with his movies. He really likes to make hard-hitting films that try to focus on what's going on in society at the time, very much like so he did with Birth of a Nation. And he's gotten better, I would say, as a director. This being his second film, is definitely more straightforward in the way he films this. The setup device is pretty interesting. We have Nate Parker's character, whose name is Lincoln Jefferson, called Link, and his son was Johnny Jefferson. They were out driving one day to get pulled over. Misunderstanding, cops killed his son. So very early on in the film, we're introduced to a character called Jordan King, who is played by Shane Paul McGee, who I'm not familiar with, but this young man does a great job in this film. And he's this young, aspiring director who's a college student, and he's filming this documentary sort of as a project at school, focusing on following the father around. So the way most of the film is shot is sort of like a first-person handheld camera vibe, and the character is essentially Nate Parker. He's a young aspiring black director, following Nate Parker. So that's like the way the film is shot. It's first person, sort of in the moment type of shot. It doesn't get too shaky cam, but I like that setup device and how that plays out to the rest of the movie. Some really strong performances in this film. Um, Outside of Nate Parker, you have Theo Rossi. You might recognize him as Shades from Luke Cage on Netflix. He plays Officer Dominic Reyes. He plays the cop that during the fake trial he defends. Well, most of the cops do, but he's the main cop that tries to defend the other cop, Mike Randall, who was the one that killed Lincoln's son. And Mike Randall was played by Bo Knapp. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I'm not familiar with this actor. There's a lot of fresh faces. I'm not familiar with this, but pretty much everyone that has some major screen time does a good job. The other cop that played his partner is really good too. But they're both bringing up their arguments of, what happened. And this is, like I said, most of it is debate about not necessarily right or wrong, but like the police perspective on certain race relations, and then black people's perspective, especially when there's a moment where the inmates are brought in as part of the jury. Some good moments, especially there's a moment with Theo Rossi's character and a Hispanic inmate that was pretty cool. It's very hard hitting, and one of the things that this movie does well, I think, especially the first time watching it, is it's very suspenseful. Like there are moments that, like the intensity there when people are going at it, certain action happens, and the tension is, you cut it with a knife. It's really good. There were moments, especially towards the end, where I wasn't like scared or anything, but like my heart was beating and I was really drawn into the drama that was being placed. And it's kind of like a play as well, because like I said, it's 12 Angry Men in one place, and it mostly takes place inside of the police precinct. And there's some great gems like in this film. I would say the script, I kind of feel like the script was pretty easy for them to write, because they really just picked directly from the headlines things that are happening. Like you can look at this and there's various nods to Trayvon Martin's death and Tamir Rice's death, and especially the recent one with George Floyd. Like there's some sequences that look like they just took footage from the news and just put it directly in the movie, and that it's not done I would say it's definitely not done in a hokey way. Some movies have been about stuff like this and it comes off kind of hokey, or even with Spike Lee when he does things about the black struggle, he adds a certain flair to it. Nate Parker doesn't quite do that with this film. It's definitely a little less artsy and abstract than what he kind of did with some of the scenes at Birth of a Nation. Like I said, it's much more straightforward, and it does work. He has this, a little flair here and there, but he keeps it very grounded, and I respect that. There's some great stuff that, like, he drops some, like I said, they drop some real game, and one of them I will give away. There's a moment where after there's these riots and everything, that's this great moment, probably one of my favorite moments in the film, where they have the black police captain is trying to convince the kid's mom to get on camera and just tell the people, hey, the violence is not necessary. We want peace. We want people to calm down, which is what happens often when black people are shot and people want to turn up. They run directly to someone in the family to get on camera, usually the mother if they can, to try to calm people who are rightfully pissed off. And the interaction between the cop and the mom and one of the cousins who's really pissed off, and just it was a very realistic and like, yep, that's exactly how it goes down type of moment. That was like a powerful scene. I really enjoyed that. Just like the messaging behind it. And there's a lot of sequences. Like this movie is, you might say, oh, it's too preachy. It is, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, like I said, you can be like Spike Lee, sort of ham-fisted preachy, or you can be kind of like this movie and just like, this is just what it is. It's like it's different ways to handle it, and I respect Nate Parker's handling of the subject. The story also kind of reminds me of the film of what's called John Q with Denzel Washington. He's blue collar guy who holds people hostages, wanting justice for his son. And I have to say, I haven't watched a lot of Nate Parker's movies, but he has some serious Denzel Washington vibes in this. Like if this movie was made in like '92, it would be Denzel in this role, and he definitely had. I can tell Denzel is a huge inspiration on his acting style. But there's some moments where I'm like, yeah, he's definitely aping Denzel a little bit, and it works. It works. The young guy that plays the director kid, he's good. Some of the inmates are really good. There's this one inmate that's like the pro black inmate. He's got the kufi on. He's like converted to Islam. He's great. That actor's great. He's great. The guy that plays the captain's great. And like I said, the cop that kills the kid's partner, he's really good too. But I think both sides bring up interesting arguments. But this is a very, like I said, very realist film. I'm not going to give away the ending, but there is a moment, like I said, it's very intense. Go check it out. This film is available in theaters if you want to risk it. But it's also available on VOD, all the ones, Voodoo, iTunes. I got it on Amazon. You can rent it for $6 or $7, $6.99, or you can buy it for $12.99. I bought it. I want to support black artists, especially ones that are being sabotaged by the mainstream media. So, if you want an honest review of the film, it's solid. I know it's been review bombed, but watch it for yourself, make your own decision. Don't be a slave to whatever program it is out there. Like, make your own decisions. I'll leave it at that. And as for a grade, I would give American Skin a solid A or a 9 out of 10. It's good. It's, in terms of, like I said, it's not the most flashy movie, but for what it did and what it talked about, how it handled the subject, I thought it was very respectful. It was very pro-black. And if you have a problem with that, I'm sorry. That's one of the things I did respect about this film. There were certain things, directions it could have gone in where I would have been like, but like, no, it keeps it very, very realistic and very positive, I would say. So I do admire it for that. So definitely a 9 out of 10, worth watching. So those are my thoughts on American Skin. Let me know what you thought about the film in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel, and to stay tuned for more videos. Peace.